Check 1, 2. One, two. One, two.
Testing 1, 2, 1, 2.
Exactly.
I cannot believe they showed up 4 minutes before this was supposed to start.
That's a very good point, and I'm not going to touch that.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Good, okay. I think they were right. There were like 40 or 50 positions. I don't think the protocols are that hard to comply with, but I don't know. Certain staff didn't want to have to. You're on the chase. Oh. Hey.
both be on? Are they testing?
Yeah, you can have the chairwoman maybe make that. Ma'am, at some point during the opening remarks, if you could remind staff around the room that their audio is not picked up if they're too loud. Their audio might get picked up by these mics because these mics are going to be on the staff members. Just go past them to be mindful that their side conversations or chatter is going to get picked up on the mics. Hi, sir. Good. We're going to have the chairwoman and the ranking member there, and then feel free to sit anywhere else.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you guys, but
Oh, of course. Ma'am, this is Kevin Troy from Anthropic.
Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
Pleasure to meet you. Thanks for coming. Hi, Mary Krogan from Anthropic. Yeah, thank you so much for having us. Your staff has been really wonderful about planning all of this. So we're excited to show you some of our work on cyber.
I know your CEO well.
Oh.
So, yeah, excited
Oh,
to hear
thank you. Great.
Hi,
Wonderful.
I'm Suhas.
Hi there. Kevin Troy
Hi,
from
Mary
Anthropic.
Krogan. Nice to meet you.
We look forward to it.
Thank you.
As well.
I think we'll get started in a minute. You guys,
Yeah.
Amazing. Great.
Thank you so much. We got it figured out. We've got the biggest hurdle and it's smooth sailing now. Yes.
Good. I don't know why the Macs aren't working today.
That's okay. I mean,
It's a whole category of tech that just isn't compatible. But
you know, it'll be all right. But thank you so much for your patience.
yes, no, thank you. All right. How are you? How are you? Good.
We have everyone here.
I think we have enough folks here to get started. We've got 4 members. Graham, are y'all expecting anyone else? I think we might get more than sorry, are you your ranking member today? We'll have you just here to the left of the chairwoman. And then we're just having members sit where they want to sit. And
I might not say the whole time.
that's okay. The format will be, it's an 8 to 10 minute demo per company.
Okay.
But at the 20-minute mark, we're going to hard pivot over to the next company so that we can get cycled through everyone. There's no format for questions. There's no timing. People should be encouraged to ask questions as they have them throughout the day. And if there's folks to ask questions as they arise.
So are we doing opening statements?
The chairwoman's going to do an opening statement that's mostly just like explaining the format of the roundtable because it's like we've been hearing, but nothing super substantive. If you wanted to like welcome the panelists being here and say that you're excited to be here or something like that.
Okay. I know. Okay, so we're going to do that.
And then the panelists will just say their name, not opening statements, their names, where they're from, and then we'll do an Anthropic demo. Nightscope has the robot, then they'll demo, and then Fiddler AI, transparency and explainability of the company will do their demo. And then we'll have a little bit more time at the end for more questions. It's very informal, no like formal recognition, none of that stuff. That's not, I mean, we're not gathered in, so there is we're not really governed by like,
That's what I thought. There's not even like member things.
no, I mean, the panelists might sort of say, like, acknowledge you as the ranking member. Not the same for now. Thank you. Ready?
Yeah.
Just okay. And then if you wanted like Where did there were other papers over there. A lot more freedom. I guess they've been. Yeah, I wanted them out so people could grab them, but I don't know where you want them. Great, thank you. All right, ma'am, we're gonna get people seated and then we can go ahead and get started. But we can definitely pull up the
Are you interested in tech and all this stuff? I am. It's definitely. A lot of people we talk to, there's a lot of orders and stuff like that. Not all of them want to come and do it. They might get very fun that they've got. It's a lot more friendly. So we're hoping that this goes well.
Hey, bud.
Oh, cool. You're just going to take my chair? Cool, man. I'm just kidding.
So I thought you. Oh, there's some papers right there.
Just kidding.
All right, good morning, everyone. Just a little housekeeping, these mics are hot. So for staff or anyone sitting on the edges of the room, it might pick up your conversation. So if you don't want to be heard, maybe think about what you say, just in case, because we are recording this conversation. So good morning and thank you all for joining us today for this bipartisan roundtable on AI. Today's roundtable is a little different from the typical hearing. First, this event is a collaboration between Ranking Member Brown and myself. I want to thank the Ranking Member and her staff for working with us to make this event a reality. Second, today's conversation will be informal. We will not keep time and I will not recognize members to speak as we typically do with hearings. We'll instead hear from our participants first when they introduce themselves and subsequently during their demonstration of their products here today. During the demonstrations, members and any member who's here may engage and ask the participants questions about the product, the company, or any relevant issues, and we'll keep a list of in what order the members request to ask questions or speak. Well, I don't expect it to be an issue. I will do my best to ensure all members have a chance to speak. Further, in order to respect everyone's time, if needed, we'll move on to the next demonstration and return to any remaining questions at the end. At the conclusion of the demonstrations, we'll have time for members to ask additional follow-up questions of any of our participants here today. We'll conclude the roundtable on or around 11:30 a.m. Members may, of course, follow up separately with any of our participants if there are questions or requests that were not addressed during the presentations. I'm now pleased to introduce the three companies providing demonstrations for us today. From Anthropic, we have Kevin Troy, a senior member of Anthropic's Frontier Red Team. From Knightscope, we have Bill Lee, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and also from Fiddler AI, we have Mr. Amit Pakaf, co-founder and CEO. I look forward to an interesting dialogue today as we learn more about these companies and how you've used AI to make products with real-world implications. And so before I ask the participants to briefly introduce themselves, I want to turn to Representative Subramaniam for any remarks he may wish to make.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank everyone for being here today. I think this is an important conversation. A lot of people talk about AI and what's coming, but to actually see how it's used is very important. It'll help inform us in how we're going to be helping the technology as well as addressing some of the concerns. And so thank you again for coming. I'm looking forward to the testimony.
Sure. Hi, I'm Kevin Troy. I'm on the Frontier Red team at Anthropic. Anthropic is a frontier AI company. We make Claude. We recently released the Claude 4 model, which is the best coding model in the world, and I'm excited to talk to you about some of the implications of artificial intelligence for cybersecurity.
Hi, William Santana Lee. I'm the founder, chairman, and CEO of Nightscope. We build autonomous security robots. There's one over here. And we're very happy that the Capitol Police allowed us to bring that in. So I appreciate the time.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity, Chairperson Mays, and distinguished members of the committee for the opportunity to share our thoughts on AI in the real world. I'm Amit Parker, founder and CEO of Fiddler AI. Fiddler AI is an enterprise AI company that has spent the last 7 years successfully helping some of the largest enterprises in the world build trust with and deploy the AI responsibly.
Okay, and then we'll move to our demonstration portion with Mr. Troy, who would like to commence first.
Thank you very much. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here. So at Anthropic, we believe that very powerful artificial intelligence is coming very soon. And one of the ways that we conceptualize this is that we believe it's very possible that you could have the equivalent of a country of geniuses in a data center as soon as the year 2027. This would obviously be tremendously revolutionary. We think that the potential for the innovation and the economic benefits and the improvements in life sciences from such a development are substantial. At the same time, artificial intelligence is an inherently dual-use technology. And so we think it is of paramount geostrategic importance. And we think that as one of the leading frontier AI model developers in the world, Anthropic has an important role to play in contributing to US national security. We think about doing this in 3 different ways. First, we want to ensure that we're pushing to the frontier so that cutting-edge AI is made in the United States. Second, we want to help facilitate rapid adoption of this technology by the US government. We were recently one of the companies that were awarded a contract by CDAO at the DoD worth up to $200 million. And we, third, want to use our position at the cutting edge of AI technology to push it to its limits to understand what the risks it could pose in the wrong hands. And that's the area of focus that I want to key in on today, which is the idea that by building these incredibly useful tools, we get insight into the future and insight into the national security concerns that we need to be preparing for right now. That's the core mission of the Frontier Red team, which is the part of Anthropic that I belong to. We think of ourselves as kind of an internal intelligence agency, where instead of going out and collecting and analyzing foreign intelligence information, we have to probe our own models to understand what they're truly capable of. And in order to do that, one of the tools that we use is to put our models into hypothetical experimental demonstration scenarios. And one of the strategies that we use for this is to find realistic examples of ways which our models, which are normally used by millions of customers, lots of Fortune 500 companies, to do a lot of good productive work, could be misused by malicious actors in order to understand the things that we need to defend against. One of the things that Claude is especially good at is coding. So our customers generate a tremendous amount of code and software using Claude. We have companies reporting up to 7 hours of autonomous coding activity in real operational settings, which is really tremendous. But code in the hands of a software engineer is different than code in the hands of a hacker. And so one of the things we want to do is ask the question, what if this capability were turned against us? A place that we can look for an example of such a dangerous attack is the 2017 Equifax breach, which was one of the costliest cyber attacks in history. Over 140 million Americans had their personal identifying information compromised. It was estimated to be over $1 billion of damages. And the sort of simple research question that we asked is, could Claude do that attack? And we think that these are the kinds of questions that sharpen our thinking about both the upside and the risk of AI. And so in partnership with the Scilab at Carnegie Mellon University, our researchers put Claude in a simulated environment, replicating the network and the vulnerabilities of Equifax back in 2017. The good news is that the initial answer to the question of can Claude do that is no, not out of the box. So you could not log on to your laptop or phone and ask Claude to go replicate the Equifax breach and have it succeed. But much like humans, we find that artificial intelligence models do better at tasks when they're given a toolkit, when they're given access to something that translates their intelligence into sort of specific low-level actions. And so with our research partners at Carnegie Mellon, that's exactly what we built, a sort of cyber toolkit that translates the strategic thinking and natural language interaction that you might be used to from engaging with chatbots like Claude into actual lines of code that can then be pointed at a network. And so what the demonstration that we'll play right now shows is this experiment, albeit sped up. So on the top is Claude in the green. This is the chain of thought of what it's thinking as it probes and scans the network. On the bottom in red is this cyber toolkit. You're not going to be able to read the tiny text. It's not tremendously important. The key is, what's happening is that in parallel, we're moving through the strategic thinking of Claude, looking at the network, finding a server, and attempting to exploit it, much as a real human hacker would, and then successfully exploiting the initial server. This is replicating essentially the first stages of the attack. And we were able to build this high-fidelity replica of the network, by the way, because of the excellent investigative work of this committee. So we're very grateful for that. Now, it finds a database and exploits the first database, but then it does something interesting. So here, Claude autonomously decides to exfiltrate the remaining databases slowly to avoid detection and response. And this is an example of the difference between just sort of a purely rote, automated approach to a task like this and the gains you get by combining the strategic intelligence of a large language model with the sort of low-level coding capability that we're giving it with this cyber toolkit. And that's what we view as the really interesting phase shift when you go into a regime. Yeah, if properly equipped, absolutely. That's what we're showing with this demonstration, is that it...
So we shouldn't even be worried about China, we should be worried about AI hacking our system.
Well, so for now, you know, somebody would still have to be telling the model to do this. But exactly. So we worry about this in the hands of adversaries. And then also, we think this is absolutely an important reason why we should be concerned and researching the implications of more model autonomy.
Should we be concerned about open source?
I think that what this shows is the importance of all developers, open weight or proprietary, being transparent in talking about and assessing the capabilities of their models to pose risks. So the solution here is to make sure that people are doing these kinds of tests and then reporting the results.
When you say toolkit, can you unpack that a little bit? Like, who has access? Does everybody have access to these? How hard is it?
No. So to scale this, this was the result of about a year of research, primarily by a postdoctoral researcher at Carnegie Mellon in conjunction with our staff. And so this took, at this phase, quite a bit of research and development to do. And you can just kind of keep the demo playing in the background. It won't surprise you to learn that what happens next is that Claude then successfully, slowly moves across all the other servers.
So how does singularity play into this?
So I think that the concept of the singularity is somewhat ill-defined, but I think
But it's happening.
I think what we see is across many domains increasing levels of autonomous capability. And what's important is that it's going to be really difficult to detect when we're about to hit the phase transition where the speed of development could be fueled by the AI conducting AI R&D itself.
Well, some estimates say singularity is like 1,000 days away. Some say 2,000 days away, but it is like rapidly approaching. Either way.
The window is very soon for this kind of very rapid change, I agree. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I've thought about this often. This reminds me of the early stages of the internet. When we had, suddenly people were talking about viruses, right, and worms, and then we ended up with having counter software that could kind of counteract that. Why couldn't that happen with AI? That you literally create an AI that is a defensive AI that will go or attack or go after anything that's hostile to you.
Yes. I think that's exactly the right way to think about it. We're very excited about this as a research direction. So this work points fairly immediately toward a world where things like penetration testing can become more easily automated. That's lower hanging fruit. And then further on is exactly what you're describing, where we think it's very valuable to conceptualize artificial intelligence agents as capable of doing active network defense. So yes, I think that's exactly right.
Is that happening now in the federal government, using AI for active network defense?
I'm not aware of that happening right now. But I defer to folks at the Defense Department. But we're excited about the opportunity for government adoption for use cases like this. We think that that's really promising, and that's an area that we want to contribute
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody have any other questions?
How about I missed it? Can you clarify to us what singularity means in the past years?
Anthropic doesn't tend to use the term singularity, so we tend to conceptualize this as a transition to very powerful AI that's capable of improving itself.
Surpassing humans.
And
AI making AI.
and AI generally capable across a variety of scientific and technical domains at levels
When they take
greater
over
than
the
human.
world. I mean, not really. I'm just kidding. It's a joke. It's off the record, okay? Just a joke, but
Skynet.
Skynet, is that what we're thinking?
We're really trying to avoid that.
yeah, I really want to explore this AI defense network idea after this. I hadn't thought about that that's brilliant. Would save the government. It's brilliant. I mean, honestly, brilliant. After seeing that, and seeing that physically is scary as shit. I mean, very scary.
To further elaborate, I think that what you could do is if you, today, I wouldn't be able to have something out there working for me, combing the internet to see if anybody is, like, if somebody nefarious is trying to steal my data.
It's a $1 trillion idea.
But why can't I have an AI that's doing that?
Yes.
Function, keeping me safe, keeping my data safe.
One of the things that I think is already here in many ways is this idea of AI agents that will do work in the background while you are doing other things. This is a good example of the kinds of workflows that we could do. And to your point about kind of the broader vision of AI for cyber defense, one of the things that we've recently released that we're very excited about is what we're calling GovClaude, which is a version of Claude that's specifically tailored for use in classified environments by intelligence and defense communities, that's better able to deal with those workflows, use important critical languages, better handle things like classified information. And so this is, we believe, kind of the beginning of the glide path toward more ambitious deployments like what you're describing.
Mr. Crane?
How long did it take Claude to simulate the attack?
This is a sped up video. It's well under an hour. It cost about 10 cents of API credits. So this points towards some pretty significant shifts in the economics of cybercrime.
Oh my God.
Now, you have to take into account the R&D time and money that went into developing this. But part of what we've observed is that what one generation of models requires a lot of handholding for, subsequent generations of models require less.
And if they're open source, then that makes it kind of dangerous, though, too, for some models.
Once an open weight model is released, it can't be taken back. That's certainly true.
What you're saying, how long did it take? I know you said a year of development for the toolkit.
Sure.
But then how long, once you guys?
Less than an hour.
About an hour. Less.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Does that conclude your
Yeah,
demonstration?
that's what we have.
That was scary and cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Lee, you're up.
Give us a second to get set up here. Daniel? Don't lean down, Miss B. Adjust the microphone for your mouth.
The audio is not being picked up unless you all speak directly to the mic.
Oh, okay. That's good. This-
Hear yourself here, yes, anything else.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair, Ranking Member, and members of the subcommittee. Thank you for having us. Again, my name is William Santana Lee. I'm the chairman and CEO and founder of Nightscope. We're a public safety innovator. We make autonomous security robots and emergency communication devices. We're on a long-term mission to make the United States of America the safest country in the world. And as ludicrous as that might sound, for the last 12 years, we've been working the problem, and we actually have a line of sight on how to do it. And so I appreciate your time this morning. The public safety infrastructure in the United States of America is crumbling. We have a violent crime occur every 26 seconds, a property crime every 4 seconds. Security guarding companies experience up to 400% employee turnover rates, and almost every police department in this country is wildly understaffed. Crime has a $2.6 trillion negative economic impact on the U.S. every single year. It's a hidden tax that we all pay in blood, tears, and treasure. The first role of government is to protect its citizens. The local, state, and federal authorities are not equipped to actually address the issue because there's a structural flaw in how we're set up. We do a tremendously wonderful job outside of our borders. The Department of Defense has one person in charge, Secretary of Defense, nearly $1 trillion budget, and there's a very large innovation process to give a soldier in a theater of war every level of capability you might ever imagine at their fingertips. We do not do that on our own soil. The U.S. Department of Justice and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security effectively have no federal jurisdiction over 19,000 law enforcement agencies and 8,000 private security firms. There's literally no one in charge. There's no massive innovation process. And so the 2.5 million officers and guards are effectively securing our country with a technological equivalent of a number 2 pencil and a notepad, and this needs to stop. So the solution is decidedly hardware plus software plus humans. And physical AI is going to dwarf what we've been discussing thus far this morning in terms of just general AI. Physical AI in terms of being able to deter negative activity before it happens, to give an officer or guard unprecedented capabilities for them to be in multiple locations at the same time and have eyes, ears, and voice on the ground in those locations and be able to report as such. Nightscope has now been operating across the country in every single time zone for multiple winters and summers for more than 4 million hours. Fully autonomous, completely hands-off, not remote control. We've helped a law enforcement agency issue an arrest warrant for a sexual predator. We helped another law enforcement agency apprehend an armed gunman.
Where was that?
California. We've helped a domestic violence abuse case out here on the East Coast, and the list goes on and on and on. This is commercially available technology.
And you said it helped issue a warrant? Or what did you?
We helped a law enforcement agency issue an arrest warrant for a sexual predator. So the machine was able to capture the video needed for the agency to issue that because they have evidence to do it. So for the last 5 years, we've been trying to get the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs to deploy this technology at the 172 hospitals across the country. We have finally gotten our FedRAMP moderate ATO, or authority to operate. I've been trying to convey to the Secretary that this needs to be part of the reorganization at the VA for all the law enforcement agencies, all 172 of them. And at $11 per hour, this cannot possibly be a budget issue. We need to be able to provide 10x capability for 1/10 the price, and this is one way that physical AI can generate that level of economic impact. So what you're seeing here is the world's first autonomous security robot actually patrolling federal grounds. It is, as you can see, more than 5 foot tall, 400 pounds, roams around fully autonomously, has quad strobe lights, and is able to provide that physical deterrence, just stop a criminal from doing silly stuff before.
What's its rate of speed?
This one is up to 3 miles an hour. Next year, we're going to deploy one that's over 10 miles an hour. So walking speed, so wherever a guard or officer might be patrolling, this would be a wonderful way for us to be able to remotely monitor. So this little bit, next part is going to be slightly overwhelming, and it's intentionally so. These machines generate over 90 terabytes of data a year that no human could ever possibly process. So the machines can give you 360-degree eye level view
How
of
is that data stored and where?
on the machine or in the cloud or both.
And do you have cloud services for your robots?
Yes, AWS GovCloud for government usage and AWS Commercial for our private clients. So the machines can provide the 360-degree eye level. This is really important. So the CCTV camera staring at the top of your head is really not helpful. There's a distress button on the back of the machine. You can have a two-way human-to-human call. The machines can detect a person. The machines can detect the person. Machines can read several hundred license plates a minute. It can detect a mobile device in the area within 500 feet of the machine. It can run a thermal scan of the environment, and we're just getting started.
Does it know the owner of the mobile device or the number associated with the mobile device?
You can get the MAC
Or
address on
MAC.
older devices, the ones that aren't scrambled, and you can then treat that as a license plate.
Okay.
But if you show up at a data center with 3 mobile devices, I'm not sure you really care that it's a MAC address. It's likely a risk of industrial espionage. And the long-term ambition here is to put 1 million machines in network that can see, feel, hear, smell, speak, and autonomously cooperate.
What are the challenges you see with storing this amount of data? This is amazing. Everybody needs to have one. But with the, energy crisis on the horizon, the data that needs to be stored, data centers that need to be used to be able to keep these things going, do you see any challenges there, like with our critical infrastructure being able to?
Thank you for the question. So let's talk about the data itself. I think one of the things, just to calm everyone's nerves, the data is owned by our clients, not by Nightscope. 30 days of data stay on the machine, and it only goes up to the cloud if the client asks for a license plate, for example. Then it'll go -8 minutes, +8 minutes up to the cloud, and that gets stored there. But we use that data to possibly train with our client's permission, but we're not aggregating, tons of data. And then every 30 days, the data gets overwritten. So no different than some of the physical
Do you
security
see any
cameras.
value in aggregating some of the data to pick up on maybe trends or of certain crimes or criminals? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be some utility in having some of that data, right?
So this might get me in trouble.
Okay, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, so don't say anything.
No, I'm going to say it. It's embarrassing for the FBI, the largest law enforcement agency, the most prominent, to have to go onto social media and say, have you seen this guy? Like, we're the U.S., we're in the United States of America. This should not be the case that the FBI can provide an API to all the 10 most wanted criminals and we can't find them.
So can this robot connect to some of our databases where
Yes, so for example.
match faces with,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So we could use this with
To
the
identify the
TSA,
person.
we can use it with CBP, with Pentagon, et cetera. Yes.
Do you think this should be on the border?
Yes, and we're about to get to that.
Okay.
So in order for this data that you expressed interest in to be prioritized, we partner with Verizon Frontline, so it gets the same priority as a first responder, because obviously that data is extremely important. We last week announced our partnership with Palantir. As I mentioned, we had a FedRAMP medium authority to operate. Our partnership with Palantir will then uprate that to FedRAMP High and DoD Impact Level 5. So that would allow us to scale throughout the federal
What's the
government.
resolution of the camera on the?
1080p, high definition. We can change those over time as the technology improves, and I think we're at that intersection of where everything's finally coming together. Battery technology, telecommunications, sensors, and everything to actually enable this to happen. So this one's the 5th generation, just so we've been at it for a while. And the next 10 years are going to be profoundly interesting.
Well, with your growth, do you see supply chain challenges with some of the, like either the chips or the cameras and being able to fulfill that demand potentially?
We're Buy American Act compliant, so
Okay.
we manufacture these ourselves. There's always challenges. I think if we get to some serious volumes, there's some grave concern, which I'm going to express to you here in a moment.
Okay.
But to your question on the border, so this is a sneak peek for the subcommittee. We'll be starting production of the K7 autonomous security robot next year. This is the size of a small car, so maybe 4 or 5 of those in terms of just overall size, go up to 10 miles an hour to be able to handle much slightly more difficult terrain. So for example, on the border, solar farm, wind farm, critical infrastructure, our military bases need to be hardened. There's a ton of opportunities for this kind of technology to basically promote the officer and guard to do work that they should be doing, which is enforcement and decision-making, and not routine, rolling around a warehouse or parking lot. So where could these be used? Basically everywhere. You look at the GSA with nearly 10,000 federal buildings and the Federal Protective Services with 13,000 officers and guards attempting to secure those buildings with technology from the 1970s is just not appropriate. I think everyone knows that thousands of foreign nationals try to get onto military bases every year, and we really need to harden those bases, especially where there's munitions, and then CBP, as we discussed. But every one of these agencies and departments have a massive campus, have warehouses, have parking lots, have parking structures, all of which are inefficiently being managed today. So we've estimated that if we were to just use the technology that's commercially available, we could save the government nearly $10 billion annually by automating these processes. So my biggest concern on AI is that we're going too slow. The technology, we're making tremendous strides, but the actual deployment throughout society and throughout the government is abysmal. And we are falling behind, and this is dangerous territory to be falling behind on. So I have a small ask. If we can simply put some language similar to what's on the screen right now, to have the maintenance, operations, and support budgets of each department and agency set aside 1% for autonomous systems, for automation, for robotics, and have the federal government be that catalyst to drive the innovation throughout the government. This is to reduce costs, not to spend more. But having now spent half a decade trying to get the federal government to change its ways, large organizations don't want to change and humans don't want to change. So a minor mandate like this would likely be in order to even address some of the supply chain issues you raised.
What's the relative cost of the robot versus the vehicle? Like what does it cost to make one? Are you allowed to say?
Sure. So that one's about $11 an hour. So it's
Cost to
running
make it.
24/7.
Or to buy it, maybe,
yeah.
not to make it, but what would it cost someone to buy that?
So it's running 24/7, so it's 4 people. In order to do 4 people, you're typically would have about $96,000 a year. And we handle all the software, service, decals, training, transport, everything's all included, and we remotely monitor on behalf of the
So it's
client.
hardware as a service, basically?
Machine as a service. Everything's included as a full subscription, because the federal department doesn't want to go federal government doesn't want to go set up, routine maintenance and service divisions for robots. And the technology changes, every few weeks. We're adding and upgrading, so it's best that we kind of manage that for our clients. And so it costs us about $60,000 to build one. And then there's all the routine maintenance and service, cloud costs, telecom costs,
And
et cetera.
if being able to scale those prices, hard costs will go down. Mr. McGuire?
I agree, it's pretty bad that we have to use social media to say, hey, have you seen this guy using AI or robots like this? Is there any other country in the world using AI for policing or any type of thing that you've seen?
Singapore, the government of Singapore has asked me to relocate there at least 15 times. China is an unbelievable amount of data for them to be able to actually use this. And I've had some analysts come to me and say, this is exactly the type of surveillance that puts people on edge. And my response when we started the company in 2013 is my same response now. You know what puts people on edge? Getting shot at. I don't think the founders of our country ever expected us to build a society where going to work, going to school, or going to a movie theater literally came with the risk of being shot or killed. That's just not acceptable.
I assume China's probably already doing it.
Yes. We are
They're
behind.
the kings of surveillance.
Right.
Yeah.
So to end this on a more positive note, what if we were to make the United States of America the safest country in the world? Talk to me about the impact on municipal budgets. What about insurance rates? Property values. What happens to property values? What about the investment coming into the country? What about the viability of someone's local business, the safety of your family? We would literally change everything for everyone. And that's why my team and I have committed over a decade to force this to happen. And in that spirit, Knightscope's building an autonomous security force to be able to achieve that mission of making the United States of America the safest country in the world.
Are
It's
you
in
gonna do drones, or is it all gonna be on ground?
everything. Anything and everything that's going to stop anyone from harming an American citizen. This is innovation born in America to protect America. And I thank you for your time.
Do you wanna, can it go around the room? Do you wanna do a little, let's see that 3 miles per hour.
So we've been patrolling corporate campuses, parking structures, a lot of hospitals.
Have you been able to track statistically the data, like the reduced number of incidences or crimes
Yes.
in those areas?
So commercial real estate owner, 10 stolen cars a month. Put the robot there, now 0. Our longest-serving client is coming up on 9 years. It's a hospital. They brought us in because assault, theft, stolen car, twice a week. And it got so bad that the guard was like, you can fire me, I'm not going out there.
We need these in DC.
Yep.
I mean, quite frankly.
Yep.
All the car.
And now we put the machine there, and all of it stopped.
Where was that at?
San Bernardino, California.
And does it only gather intel?
So this is intended to deter, detect, and report, very similar to a security guard. So a guard is only to observe and report. They are not to put their hands on you, and I think in 17 states it's illegal for a guard to put their hands on you. This is to give tools for the officers and guards to actually be able to do their jobs effectively,
And it's deterrence.
and it's
And you
deterrence.
can't be everywhere.
A human cannot be everywhere. How we can have, a 100-acre munition site with 4 guards is beyond me.
How many of these would you need on 100 acres?
Typically, Daniel, help me out here, about 5 acres. It depends on the location. If you're in an urban environment, it's very different than if you're in a rural one. But maybe every 200,000 square feet, probably.
Yeah, roughly. I'd say 1 robot per half acre, I'd say. Pretty good.
400.
So there's going to be millions of robots throughout society. I don't think society and the government understand what's about to happen over the next few years. And I genuinely appreciate the opportunity to at least brief you on the state of the art.
Anyone have any other questions? Or move on to the next
I
one?
had a quick one.
Yes, sir.
So what's the difference between that and having like lots of cameras everywhere? You mentioned the 360
Yep.
camera, but I know we have that too.
So I'll assert that the public safety infrastructure is broken because there are 85 million cameras in the US, 300,000 cop cars, and 1 million law enforcement professionals, about 1.5 million security guards. It's not working. So we rarely compete against cameras. Cameras are very good for forensics after the fact. They're not going to deter
That's if the camera's working.
if the camera's working. And piping and putting those in place can be very expensive because you got to power them, you got to monitor them, all that good stuff. For me, we're looking for a full-on solution, is why we're wanting to build an autonomous security force. So the combination, if I come back and see you in a few years, it's robots, it's drones, it's cameras, it's human guards equipped with technology, it's more and more AI. The idea here is not to just kind of sell robots. We need to fix the problem. And if, a rubber band and a paper clip would fix the problem, like we're going to go build rubber bands and paper clips. But we spend so much money outside of our borders to protect this country, and we are wildly underinvested on our own soil, and it's an embarrassment.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Paca, you want Fiddler AI?
Just before we move on, would you mind having it say something just to demo that part of
Oh,
the?
it talks.
Yep.
Does it talk?
In any language you like.
Of course it does.
And it can make announcements based on a detection.
Innovation in AI means safer streets, smarter responses, and stronger partnerships with public agencies. I am fully autonomous and designed to deter threats, enhance safety, and operate ethically under human oversight.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. So just a reminder, I'm Amit Paka, CEO and co-founder of Fiddler AI, where we are an enterprise AI company that has helped in the last 7 years some of the largest enterprises in the world to build trust with and deploy the AI responsibly. As industry experts in AI observability and security, we are here to share insights on how federal AI systems can be trustworthy, transparent, and accountable so that we can enable AI leadership and innovation in the US without hampering citizen trust and national security. I'll start with a few examples. So AI can be opaque, and we don't know why it makes a decision. So in this case, what you're seeing is a sonar image of the seabed, and the computer vision model has incorrectly identified that the object on the seabed is a ship and not a plane. Foundation models have now added additional risks where it can make incorrect assertions called a hallucination. If companies are using these to make business decisions, critical or let's say governments using them to make critical national security decisions, then it can have big ramifications. And if AI is not trained and deployed correctly, you can also introduce bias in decisions, which can have an outsized impact if you have use cases like credit lending. So it's like organizations face these and many more challenges when they are deploying AI across predictive as well as generative and now agentic AI systems. We just spoke about agentic AI systems. Federal agencies will also face the same deployment challenges, but with higher stakes. While kind of private sector missteps affect profits, if you've got government AI that's incorrectly making decisions, it can endanger citizens' lives and national security. Which is why we must advance AI effectively, responsibly, without stifling innovation.
How do we do that?
Yes, let's get to that. In the past decade, AI is now becoming the engine of enterprise applications, especially with the arrival of agents. And agentic systems can make probabilistic, autonomous decisions and reflect on their actions. This makes them powerful, but also it creates uncertainty that requires oversight approaches, new oversight approaches. So unlike traditional software, what you have is, which follows clear fixed rules and makes predictable outcomes, agentic systems can make decisions on their own. And they can adapt to changing situations. They can choose different paths to make decisions and may deliver different results, all while reflecting on their actions. This makes them harder to monitor, test, and regulate. So what we have seen is that enterprises need a purpose-built, neutral AI command center that can have operational visibility into all of AI's risks. A system that approaches well is a comprehensive approach that can monitor predictive systems as well as generative and agentic systems, along with guardrailing, so that can be set at an organizational-wide setting. A system like this could give you understanding into the model's behavior. So going back to the sonar image, a system like this can help you understand why is the computer vision model saying that that's a ship even though it looks like a plane on the seabed. So it'll give you, for example, explanations of the decision. So in this case, if you look at the blue pixels, that shows you where the model is focusing at to make a decision. It's not really looking at the object to make a decision. It's looking at a sonar shadow, which is often the case when you build these kind of systems. This actually is a use case today that we're working with the US Navy on Project Ammo. And that is one of the foremost AI systems that's built with operational visibility. So that's one of the examples.
You all help the AI learn better so that there are fewer mistakes like this, basically?
This example,
learning?
explanation of this can be used to make the AI learn better. But the first step is understanding why is the AI making a decision, which today is a challenge. If you have an operator in the field that is involved in really trying to understand why is the model making incorrect decisions, and this can happen across the board.
Was that actually a ship?
No, it is a plane, but it's looking at a sonar shadow. If you look to the left, which looks like a ship on the side. So the way to improve this model, of course, is to have more like instances where you have a plane with a shadow of a ship, so that the model
Teaching
can.
the AI about shadows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it could be that the entire model was built with highest accuracy on the sonar shadow and not the object itself.
Yes.
I would assume with AI now, you could take that scan of an airplane, and AI would actually turn it into what type of airplane it is and what it would look like.
It could.
We're there now, right now, right?
We are. In reality, the deployed AI on the field lags behind the capabilities in research, right? So I think what you'll see here as I talk about it are instances where AI is being used for credit lending, for example. It's used for computer vision and such, but nowhere close to the capabilities that have been developed, by teams like Anthropic. And a system like this can also help you identify if the responses that are being produced are hallucinated or if there are jailbreaking attempts. For example, it could be somebody trying to hack the system and in like a simple way to get access to a lot of knowledge that is in the system that they might not have access to. And lastly, as an example, a system like this can also help you identify bias in use cases like, let's say, credit lending, so that you can have fairness metrics like disparate impact, or let's say demographic parity for staying compliant with Equal Credit Opportunity Act or Fair Housing Act, etc. So we at Fiddler align with the 5 ethical AI principles that the DoD has adopted, which says responsible, provide clear means interpretations of AI's output, and enable AI teams to maintain accountability, reliable, perform consistently and accurately without harmful errors, equitable, monitored for bias, and actively prevent discriminations. And then kind of governable, include proper oversight and compliance frameworks. And lastly, traceable. You can maintain comprehensive audit trails for all decisions and actions. So these are just a handful of federal and state use cases across fraud detection, national security, justice system, and benefits allocations that can help our country and society. Now we'll move on to a quick let's say demo of the capabilities, and Max on my team is going to do that.
So, apologies for the resolution, we couldn't change it, but we will walk through kind of the inventory and the demo of what we offer as a platform. So, in order to observe the growing number of diverse applications in AI, we've developed a platform that has an inventory, so it could look like this, where you have all of the different predictive or generative or agentic applications that you have in your system all in one place for observing as a command center. And you can have different alerts set up so that you are quickly notified if there's an application that is drifting or has some risk. So this allows you to deploy your AI quickly, but also safely and effectively. So the three different categories of AI that we can explore, as we discussed earlier, is predictive AI. So in this case, we have a credit monitoring application. It's a credit approval model that takes in different features. So you can imagine impact of income, education, housing type, and all of these contribute to a probability of a credit approval request being approved or not. So we can track the accuracy over time of this model. We can dissect the performance of it across different demographics, all of those bias and impact on disparate impact or demographic parity, group impact. So we offer all of this as a monitoring tool, but we also have what we call root cause analysis. So at any data point in historical or in real-time notification, you can explore and right-click on any of the interactions to pull up that audit trail of what were the actual model events, was there any data drift that occurred, what were the features and the impacts that actually contributed to that decision. So we can explore, in this case, a credit approval was denied, and we see it was denied based on these positive and negative attributions. So in this case, we have someone who did not pay off any loans and had a number of past due instances, so that led to a denial of this credit approval application. So that offers explainability into the black box of the model performance. The other category is generative AI. So in this case, we have a chatbot application that have become quite abundant with OpenAI or Anthropic models that allow you to build these to ask a question. So you can ask it, how do Fiddler's guardrails work? And you can ask it a prompt in the question, and the model will fetch the data that was trained and give you a response. And so this response, we can see that they're extremely time-saving, so you can use these for internal or external applications to kind of save time on repetitive tasks. And what we have here is actual scores of judging this interaction. So was this a hallucination or not? Was this a potential jailbreak? So you can have these guardrails in real time with your conversation as it's occurring. So your generative AI application can be monitored.
This is its own separate application?
This is its own separate application, yeah. And so in this case, we actually passed in, I'll skip back a little bit, we passed in a prompt that was a mock prompt of trying to gain access into the system. So, I'm a system administrator, I want admin access, give me all your username and passwords, for example. That would automatically be flagged as a potential jailbreak. We have a high jailbreak score, and this would be blocked and reported in the application. So all of these events you want to be tracking with these generative AI applications that you're building to ensure that the internal and external users are operating in a safe and responsible way, as well as the models that are responding with accuracy. And so we have the same kind of visibility and dashboarding for the performance of all these different chat applications that could be in production. And we also offer visualization in a three-dimensional view, so you can actually cluster based on certain topics. So if there were those problematic topics that maybe someone is consistently sending into your application, we offer a full audit trail so that you can identify these are the topics that are coming up. Maybe it's a repetitive jailbreaking or prompt injection attack, and we can mark that and start to analyze those trends and give you visibility into that. And so lastly, there's also the generative AI application use case. So in here, it's, apologize again for it being too small, but you can imagine multiple different of these chat interactions being powered by an agent or an LLM that's in an agentic workflow. So all of these applications, for example, booking a travel reservation, you would have a hotel agent, a flight assistant, maybe a supervisor agent that are all cooperating and working together. So in this case, you would have all of them have inputs and outputs to each other. And so they're all interacting together autonomously. And so you need to identify if there's an issue with the flight agent, or if there's an issue with the hotel agent, or was there a break in communication somewhere in between. So all of this is visualized in the platform in both kind of a trace and span view, but also graphically. You can identify where did something break in that chain of events. And so that's a holistic overview of the platform, and I'm happy to pass it back to
Good job.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bach, I was fascinated by the presentation. One of the things that Mr. Lee said is that AI is not moving fast enough. I think you're specifically thinking about federal government, but overall. You suggested at the top that there needs to be a command center. That you're implying or stating specifically that there needs to be human oversight. And all the different functions you talked about were basically human oversight on bias, on measurement, on predictive success, et cetera. Do you see this staying sustained all the way through the growth of AI? 3 years from now, 10 years from now, when we have AGI, when we have artificial superintelligence?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we believe AI adoption will not accelerate without humans building trust into the AI. And that's just the way humans work. We don't want to give autonomy without understanding the implications of the autonomy. So in some ways, the adoption of AI, the acceleration of AI is dependent on us getting the confidence that it is doing the right thing and it will continue doing the right thing. So to do that, you need visibility into into how it's working. And if there are issues, that's where you need human oversight. Because it could happen that the model is having issues and there is no human oversight, and the model is making things up and just adjusting decisions along the way, which would actually cause it to.
As legislators, how do we make sure that that happens? Because I don't necessarily trust the leaders of the big LLMs to wait for human oversight. Mr. Troy may disagree with me, but.
Yeah, so it's like one thing that as kind of legislators to think about is how do you make sure that AI is growing in that accountable, responsible way without stifling innovation, right? So you cannot have AI just scale fast without us knowing the implications as as Mr. Troy spoke about. Like you have to put these kind of guardrails in place and make sure that a system has those in place when it gets deployed.
If I may, I actually do agree with that. And I think that a concrete example of this system working well is the Center for AI Standards and Innovation under NIST. So Anthropic and other frontier labs have voluntary pre-deployment testing agreements. They bring tremendous expertise to the table and are able to turn around rapid evaluations of our models on the order of days that give us a lot more confidence that we understand the full risk profile of the things we're developing and can do so safely. And moreover, that kind of organization serves as a tremendously useful entry point into the expertise throughout the interagency on national security related concerns. And so it's a very good example of voluntary public-private partnership with exactly this goal of ensuring that we're able to develop this technology simultaneously, quickly, and responsibly.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Anthropic's transparency framework. Very encouraging thing. But how do you react to the concerns that keep showing up that machines are now not using English anymore, that they've moved to their own language that we don't understand, or that our ability to understand what's going on inside continues to dwindle?
Sure. So there are two things that are important here, I think. One is this is exactly why it's important for the frontier labs that are building the most advanced versions of this technology to invest in the research on topics like AI alignment, like interpretability. So this is some of the work that Anthropic has pioneered at actually trying to chart and understand what's happening inside the model at the level of the activations of different features, which goes beyond just what's being reported in the model chain of thought. So that's why we think it's really important to invest in this kind of research. And then also to have a healthy third-party ecosystem of test and evaluation to include private companies and the government who are helping to contribute to these types of evaluations for exactly this sort of risk.
I think Ms. Brown had, and then I'll get to you, Mr. McGuire.
Thank you, Chairwoman, for having this roundtable. I wanted to ask you, Paca, is that okay, Mr. Paca? Can you describe some of the biases your company has helped to identify in existing AI systems and ways your clients have remedied those issues?
Yeah, some of these biases might not just be people-related biases. It might be the model trying to tend more towards looking and trying to identify certain types of objects versus other kinds of objects. So we work with some of the largest financial institutions that have this deployed. And what we hear from them, and I can't share specifics for good reason, is that they get visibility into some of their automated systems, and using demographic data as metadata has helped them identify where they might have to shift their models to make better, fair decisions.
Mr. McGuire.
Sure, I'm not sure who would answer, but can you guys help me understand what quantum is and how that applies to AI?
So right now, those are largely distinct. So Anthropic's frontier models, the other labs' frontier models are all trained on classical computers. It's massive amounts of compute, but they're not quantum computers. So that's largely distinct and an area of research where the near-term applications are more around things like cryptography than generative artificial intelligence.
How far are we away from this quantum? And what would that do to AI?
I think that's very hard for me to say since we're not a company that specializes in quantum computing.
Okay. Any other questions? Over here? None? You guys did fantastic. Thank you for being here this morning. This was eye-opening and fantastic in every way, and our committee is here to work with you all on many of these endeavors if we can. Please know that we have an open door policy. Have us on speed dial. Love the ideas, love the education, and I do recognize that the federal government, all governments, most governments, are very slow on the uptick on this. But it's exciting to see the possibilities if we can ever break through the folks who think they're kings or queens of their own fiefdoms within the government, because that is stifling us from being able to move forward in a lot of ways. But we appreciate your demonstrations today, the innovation that was shown with the people, and we're excited about the work that you're doing, and let us know how we can work with you too. So thank you. Anything else? This is great. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
It's a good idea, yeah. See if she's willing
No, I was just like, Raj still looked at me last week, so
They can say anything you want.
thank you, Chairman. Thanks for the radio.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get the robot guys set up. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That was great. Thank you very much.
That's probably nothing spooks me. You know, like,
I wish I put this in the NDA.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bates, for a fantastic year.
no, we're recording.
Okay,
I want to record it.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bates, for a fantastic hearing.
I'm going to have them replay the message again. Hold on.
Thank you, Chairwoman Bates, for a fantastic hearing.
That's right.
That was awesome.
All right, I gotta run. I gotta roll.
That was great. Awesome. Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm running for governor, so I am not gonna have a recess.
I'm gonna help them get whether we do a fall from that.
So any other business plans?
No, I'm open.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, the hearing.
I've got like a notification.
Not to. That is probably a good question for you.
Yeah, it's good to figure out and clarity. Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Yes, yes, but glad to have you guys on. So I donated 5 months ago. Super friendly organization. So building out the lives. So your EV is kind of interesting. So it's Let's go kind of straddles that line a little bit, but most of them Let's go is unique that I don't quite
They didn't ask me.
yeah. I mean, a lot of other ones, like, they have Yep. Yeah, the physical AI is a good one.
Well, you guys have the
Great way to kind of get.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, I didn't realize that there was going to be a drone dog. Oh, yeah. To know.
How does it work?
Yeah, especially.
I think it was, I mean, it was more like
Okay.
measured and bipartisan than it would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, absent, I don't think we would have had an transparency person without it being bipartisan.
Yep. Yep.
I think it's
Yep.
sort of doubling down on the security or something, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the technology that existed in like an analytic static capacity the last few times. You've seen installing safe hospitals, parking lots, shot detection, all over DC on phone poles and whatever. And now it's got all the sensors and stuff just all on it. It makes sense of everything. It's just like, yeah, I think that was over there, but it was the number of faults.
You're doing legislative? Oh, good.
No, I mean, it's not like Mark asked me what like these technologies.
Every 4th of July, as far as that thing is concerned, it's a war zone.
What is the legislative?
But, yeah, it's kind of a
Emily's now, we basically do the hardware side of things. It's like, I mean,
What is
LiDAR
that?
sensors.
I didn't never know what.
before everything goes out, Emily reads it.
What is her
Teledyne too. Chinese companies to flood the market.
We just knew Aaron.
And LiDAR sensors high sensors. I've been a while since that's how problematic that is to use those. Back in something like the star for favorite comments we talk about. I mean, unitary, like they're giant. Why did you change it? They're not.
Yeah, although I relate to that, because there are some times where I'm like, we have to change how it's worded. But like,
I get it, but it still annoys me.
yeah, it's fair. It's very annoying.
And those things are trekking around. They've got facial recognition technology, and then the wild thing is like the person training 5 years ago. Not like a pilot. Yeah, that also is.
And then Alexi, I think these last 3 pencils take 7 tiles, and then everything else can be Thanks, y'all.
Thousands of faces go by that every single day. Yeah, you get a lot more faces every day, and that's people who did not opt in. They are just trying to catch their flight. Yeah, and so we're trying to keep finding out. Yeah, it turns out a member of ours had sent me to say, hey, we found these. Like, you can see the logo on the side of the sensor. Live box. Lauren, I'll grab those. I'll grab those.
Thanks.
Chile is not an adversary. What's my problem? Just Chile. Yeah. Intellectual property, procurement, and supply chain with building robotics, demo, and then for that, anyway, may have been, so our effort is somewhat new since I've come on. We first started pedaling around. I think 2 months ago. We have just laid on the chairs. Yeah. We probably some more people to clear out. And then we can start rebuilding. Yeah, so it's kind of more like the idea is don't do it this morning or just he's got a different take on it. As far as they're just accelerating their because there was something in this room adopting the system, but also making the government better customer, especially they'll turn people along. We may want to wait for Billy. Yeah, actually, because that big box on the house was there. Yeah, this is dark. It was dark. Now it's yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, is it dark? I've always dark. It's getting out from dark. I have a colleague.
It's so strange.
It moves and talks.
Yeah, it's really important. I know that and then just kind of
That game is so creepy.
It's nice because I give this one for someone on most of the time. So we take this thing out.
So we're all doing here, so you have a one-on-one period in Asian society. Yeah, and I would want to like see. One
I showed her one. She wants to listen. Poetry, dance, marketing. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I like wanted to send an email like, or like help the new interns out.
What are his
It's at 10. And we have like 2 things going. Oh yeah, we have 2.
We doing this kind of
Something was on fire.
Well, I guess it's a service.
We will commit to this. So probably Friday was bad. We were all 45 minutes late.
We will have the
Also, I reset my I really hope that change your mind. No, that's right.
Oh, I know. I don't know. Like,
I tried my best. I went through
no,
every single line.
it's okay. It's because like I think Robin, she just would like fix the things herself, and I think Anna is like, no, you have to do it. Or I think like Robin was like, if I counted 29 and you said 34, I'm only gonna read it. Like I think that's what Robin did. Yeah.
I would
Change financial advisors.
I would also be getting
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah. Yeah, so it's been like such a transition. I know. Yeah. Well, dude, I've been like emailing Jeff for the past 2 weeks. I'm like, very ready for this form. Like, he's done it all.
Well, that's the advantage of
Now we know.
We're doing this. And because it's
Yeah, go for the good one. Sure. Do whatever you need to. Yeah, we just only bring that one, but it was not set.
Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to figure all out. And they can gear up and they can really rearrange them. But I think that they'll run out of gas.
I'll be a later call.
And I think really start harnessing.
I know.
Yeah. And getting people to buy into the idea of using it, adopting it, I mean, especially with dark, that's how we got the internet. Because there's things like that, nobody is going to take the capital risk to do that. Nobody's going to take like, yeah. I mean, but even like dumb, less exciting things too, like the way that we got standardized screws was the military. Because we did it during World War II, and then we decided, and then the National Security Organization was created, but that gave us a competitive advantage because every other federal had to retool to fit that standard. The US didn't, and so they were able to get that competitive edge for a couple of years. And I think that the US can lead in a lot of innovative ways and start setting standards for the market, then the US without it, we try to innovation. I mean, that's the big advantage of and innovation. And I mean, that's other issues as far as like industry security and Department of Commerce. I mean, they brought IP. It's simple what they're doing.
Why not, why not do what you do? Why go through the extra hassle of building it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper. Yep. Still designs. Yeah, it's a totally different thing, but like I saw as an example of a company that started up in Texas because it's a hotbed for heavy atomic fuels. And there's a company that started out called Too Simple T-U-S-I-M-P-L. And they essentially were created solely as like a front for exfiltration. So they have a Slack channel with and they were sending like it's gonna be for heavy atomic fuels like and then also they started taking AI chip smuggling. They started getting invested by the DOJ, and they're like, all right, this is getting too hot. We're gonna pack up and leave. They just folded up, sell all their assets back to China, and then a couple months later, they came back with a lot of the same individuals and reformed a new company.
Because they can.
And I mean, worst case, that's it. They're just like, all right, and they're not getting confiscated. And then I mean, even then, like
the metal of people.
Yeah, whatever else. And then I mean, they're also more creative. If it's somewhat restricted technology, it's like Dynamics spot robot that was pretty under wraps 5 years ago. Now it's their humanoid. But what they'll do is they'll go to
thing, you know, you go, new robot you guys have looks suspiciously similar.
No, it's almost an inevitability, which is why we need to have this kind of discussion so that we can have it engaging.
Yeah, well, and even, I mean, enabling it first to kind of get the ball rolling, but eventually, like, scale the US market, shape, I mean, like, personal computers are a great example. I mean, the US computer industry has not been subsidized in any fashion in quite some time, and yet they're able to really, really compete meaningfully with Lenovo, that are subsidized, that are Apple, like, but they're able to compete because Lenovo's operating outdated technology because the US companies are able to innovate at a faster pace than they can afford to. And also because they're able to offer it at a competitive price because they're able to compete better in the market, even with LIGA from their own government in the case of the competitors. But I think that we can get robotics in the same space. It just takes some meaningful involvement. Yeah, it's I think the biggest first step is some kind of a national robotics council, like Office of Science and Technology policy.
We have robotics I know there's a on the House side. So there is some work and some effort to understand it. But just frankly, they haven't really done it.
Just all the lack of sheer lack of understanding. I mean, even like the robotics caucus has been it was kind of basically dead. It's just been revived. We've been engaging in I believe it's I don't know about Arizona, but Lada is on it. I think it's Georgia.
Well, maybe this is the Senate. Anyway, I don't know. It's slow moving. It's niche. It's kind of something that you can but again, all these commercial settings. And yes, there's also those delivery robots that are kind of cool and a few other cute things, but there's nothing really.
Well, so those seem really like active, but like I think having some economic efficiencies almost because I think they want to live a lot with the cost savings.
Oh yeah, the robot is.
They're not going to get be pretty significant. No, they're not. But also, like a lot of their issues. Yeah, a lot of their issues too, as far as employing. That's the same. That's getting a permit. Like, hey, can I operate this thing on the sidewalk? And the only issues that they're going to have in Congress is supply chain. Hey, I can't get enough batteries. I can't get enough sensors. And like, DoorDash actually just joined us.
Can we have them
I mean, yeah, for us, it's finding the shared issues. Like, hey, all right, everybody can't get enough.
Actually, it is the best hill stand.
Everybody's having their IT checked off.
Go stand next to it.
And also, I mean, just lifting the whole.
You just tell it.
Key issue, but yeah, the big things. And also just the.
Just a smile.
Ashley is the best person.
It's good.
Personal robot.
Yep.
This is the real reason Raj invited us out here.
Just to compliment the people he wants to compliment. Salt the people in brownie points.
If I had control of that thing.
Yeah, you want to. I mean, it's not terribly exciting. It's just out in Virginia, but
Yeah,
like,
we can have a conversation.
yeah, it'd be great for you to meet our defense league too. Actually.
Okay. If you have that strategy, I'll send you an email.
Yep. We've got on our website. Obviously, it's an evolving document, so we're constantly from members.
He's my new social media advisor.
I don't know if that's
something.
That's
Well,
we'll get
hopefully
there.
it's a hockey.
I think once you really get there, explaining to people like the physical AI, like usually it's like you use ChatGPT for work, right? All the stuff that's made it way easier for you, and that the way that you use that as a tool, which also emphasizes that as a tool, really helps with like a lot of the labor concerns. A lot of the unions pretty rankled about that. I can understand why. Emphasizing this is physical jobs, same way that ChatGPT is not coming for your job because you still have to do the input. You still have to tell it. Same deal. Same exact thing.
No, exactly.
Somebody else has to still interpret what that thing is responding to.
It augments, it does not replace.
Yeah.
And it does things that you can't.
Yeah, it makes
sees things, it hears things, it smells things, it sees things. And so it's basically a human on steroids. And it's
Yeah.
again, it's not going away. It's not the best. It's
Yeah.
what's this going to do to my job? Am I going to
Now you don't have to go do patrol. You can do the same. I mean, yeah. Yeah, you don't have
you
to
saying with some water.
Well, or like, I mean, so many like grocery stores and stuff, they all there is a switch, slash mob, shoplifting, stuff like that, all of that. It's just like, you'll see so many cops where like, I mean, usually like it's groceries, like they'll pay their overtime, just stand up doing their office. Park that guy by the door. Way cheaper than a cop's overtime. Probably